Hello, everybody, and welcome back to AutoKnerd. I'm your host, Andrew Sardone. Now, this week we're going to be talking about something a little bit different, and this is very car sales consultant. You see, in this business, there's a lot of different things that we have to deal with, and personally, when it comes to stress, this is one of the items that will devour us alive if we don't go ahead and figure out a way to just wrangle this thing up. Now, you'll hear other trainers out there that'll go ahead and say, sell, sell, sell. And that's fine. Go crazy, sell. And I mean, that's kind of the point. You'll hear me monologue on sales all the time too. But one of the things that I really want to hone in on right now is your ability to be able to manage yourself, right? Because with car sales, this is not a business for the meek. If you're somebody that simply is looking for a job because you just want to get a paycheck, I've ran into a lot of these people. And what I find is that they blow themselves out of this business within, about a month. They realize pretty quickly they can't live off a draw check, and they just walk. And it is what it is, right? This business requires a special type of fortitude in order for you to move forward with what you're working on. So, as far as this goes, we need to establish what I like to call the Great Reset. This is not easy, and this is a topic that you're not going to hear from anybody else. And the reason for this is that a lot of times it's a lot of concentrate on sales, concentrate on sales, concentrate on sales, and that's great. We got to sell cars. We got to make money, right? Every good sales consultant knows that. But every salesperson out there feels the need to grind themselves to the point where they just burn up. And this is not fair for you. It's not fair for your family. It's not fair for the people that you have to support. It's not fair for your bank account. The thing is that when you go ahead and you are working day in and day out and you are just beating yourself up, that wears on you, right? One of the, things that I say quite a bit is, with the sales consultants, is we start off the day, come on in, happy smile on our face. We have a customer and we sit down with them. It just doesn't pan out, right? It just didn't work. And so we don't blame the customer for this. It's just, how it is. It just didn't work out and the customer leaves. Next customer comes in, they sit down, and this customer, let's say, beats us up a little bit and they still don't buy. Next one comes in, beats us up, still doesn't buy. We've all had these days, right? Or weeks or months, right? And so I'll talk about the months thing in just a second here. So, but when we're working with people, we're doing something that just by human nature, we naturally do. We take all the customers and we throw them in just kind of one gigantic bucket, right? And that's our day. That's our emotional state during the day is, hey, here's this gigantic bucket. I've had all these customers come by and essentially go ahead and just dump inside this thing. And next thing you know, this whole bucket is full by 4 or 5 o'clock p.m. It's just full of garbage. And then all of a sudden you have the 5th customer come in, and just simply because they are that person, you are not going to take them seriously and you're going to blow them out. It's exactly what happens. And the reason being is that, well, I'll tell you in just a second. Every human being that walks this planet is different from the next human being. We don't want to be treated the same. So if you ever hear me talk about, the whole do unto others bit, I don't like it. And the reason I don't like it, it doesn't apply to our business, right? Treat people like they want to be treated. And the only way to know that is by actually getting to know who they are, right? And that will lead you to the proper path to selling a car. And the Great Reset is all about that. It's all about going ahead and looking at why our head is in this terrible mental state. This terrible mental state that you're in is simply because you're working so darn hard and you're accomplishing so little. And it doesn't need to be that way. It really doesn't, right? When we go ahead and we come into work every single day, we prep for, hey, today we're going to crush it. Today we are just going to go ahead and we are going to decimate the showroom floor. That board, I am owning it. I'm getting at least 3 to 4 cars up there, right? Hat trick plus. And we strive for that. We hope for that. But when we don't achieve these goals, especially when we make them lofty, all of a sudden that wears down on us. We go ahead and we sit down with our manager. We establish our goals in the beginning of the month. We don't hit them. It wears down on us. We then go ahead and we start to receive our paycheck next month, and it's not as good as it was the previous month. Previous month, we were killing it. This month, what the heck's going on? I'm on the 3rd week of this month, and I'm not selling any cars. What's the deal? Actually, there's a lot going on here. And it's really easy to fix, right? When you are looking at that sales board, just going, what the heck? Why am I not progressing forward? The reason you're not progressing forward is you're in a crappy headspace. And for any of us that are out there that are like, well, I'm never in a bad headspace. I'm always ready to go. Hey, listen, take the narcissism and put it on the back burner. It's not needed. Actually, you're hurting yourself with that kind of type A mentality of, hey, I'm always in control of everything, right? Because the thing is, there's a couple things that you can't control. One, you can't control the customer. Ain't number one. It's just the fact of the matter. You cannot control another human being when they walk through the front door. The only way that you have any sense of control, so to speak, is by you knowing what the process is, following the process, and making sure that the customer understands what that process is all about too, right? The more enjoyable you make the process for the customer, the more likely they are to follow along and the higher your gross is going to be. It's not rocket science, right? We don't have to go ahead and have a full-on clinic on how to be nice to somebody. But apparently we need to take a step back every so often. So go ahead and you're dealing with people. You're getting beat up day in and day out. We call this sales. And as you're going ahead and you're getting beat up day in and day out, you go ahead and you take a step back and you realize, listen, these customers that I've been dealing with, I've been telling myself the whole time that, there's terrible people, right? The customer has changed. The only time I've actually seen the customers change was 2008. When everybody was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to the dollar? The economy just collapsed. What's going to go on? And people just stopped buying for about a month or two. And then they were right back at it, right? I mean, we used to say baseball is America's pastime. Pretty soon, it's just simply going to be spending money on luxury goods. That's America's pastime. That's what we love, right? Spending money on luxury goods. I guess shopping therapy, so to speak. But the reset is acknowledging that you are an emotional being. Now, before I get too mushy on this, let's have a serious talk. No matter who you are when you walk this planet, you are somebody that has the ability to absorb emotion. You're somebody that has the ability to see emotion. You're somebody that has the ability to analyze it while sitting down and having a conversation with somebody else. But what we need to take into consideration is that we all have a threshold. And when that threshold is met, all of the sudden we fall apart. So if you go ahead and you look at, let's say, a graph of the average sales consultant's pay, what you're going to find is this 1 month they're doing great, and next month it crash and burn. And then all of a sudden they miraculously figure it out, who knows, and then it starts going up, and then it crashes and burns again, right? This ebb and flow of the commissionable pay structure is a byproduct of just simply, well, being human, right? But it can be fixed, and you can make a flat line out of this. You'll notice that sales consultants that have been in the business of the same dealership for like 15 years has figured this out, right? They can actually go, I have a salary, and it is this. Because when it comes to this, they understand that, hey, I've worked really hard. I got my customers coming in. And as my customers come in, I could expect to make this a month. But if you're not a 15-year sales consultant at a store that you've been at the whole time, you're going to have some difficulty getting all of your repeats back on in for a little bit, right? It takes about 3 years or so, and then you naturally see people starting to come and buy cars from you. But with the reset, if you sit down, then I want you to, whenever you get a chance, just sit down, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, grab an iPad note, whatever it might be, and just write down what you enjoy doing it in life. That's all I want you to do. Write it down, right? Appropriate or not, write it down, as long as it's safe and legal and all that fun stuff. But you do you, right? I can't control you in any way whatsoever. But go ahead and jot down what it is that you enjoy in life. What do you like to do? Okay. Not crazy things. I'm not talking about like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go 4 states away and something like that. I love doing that. But things that just put you in a better headspace. Because what we got to do is we need to accept one super huge thing. When you're coming out of the last month and you got that salesperson hat on, I mean, you're tightening that hat on and you are selling. And at the end of the month, as you may have heard me say before, a salesperson is an individual that will sell a vehicle, it's a car salesperson, with complete disregard for the customer's emotional state at the time. And sad to say, just the truth of it, we all have to wear that hat toward the end of the month, right? It's sale time. We're going, and nothing is going to go ahead and stop and get in our way. That's just how the end of the month is, right? There's nothing we could do about it. But when we go ahead and we are working with the customers. We need to go ahead and put that sales consultant hat back on when it comes around to the first of the month again here. Reason being is all those manufacturer deals, they're gone, right? A lot of those incentives, they gone. And since all of that isn't there, that facade of financial value, well, if that's gone and you got a customer from the last month sitting there going, hey, well, can I still get that deal? Heck no, you can't, right? That's not how the system works. And sorry, not sorry. It just is what it is. So how do we correct this situation? How do we correct and make sure that the salesperson hat can come off at the end of the month, sales consultant hat can go on in the beginning of the month, and you can continue to do your job in a healthy manner? Well, we stop for a minute. We put the world on pause. And now for some of us, this might sound a little weird. And some of us might be going, well, Andy, well, if I go ahead and I put the world on pause, what about me selling cars? Well, you ain't selling cars now. Okay. So let's go ahead and kind of fix that situation and figure out how to get in a better headspace. Now, I'm not talking about going to the bar and drinking. Actually, that makes it a whole lot worse. Yes, you're putting yourself in a situation where you can become inebriated and you'll perceive that you feel a little bit better. Well, in order to achieve that again, you need to drink more. You need to drink more. Next thing you know, you have a drinking problem, right? And so with this, and you can see this a lot with car sales consultants, is that if you go to the bar, as soon as a dealership closes, the whole sales team's there. And the whole sales team's there not because they all like to party together, but because when it comes down to our jobs, it's stressful. But for some reason, there's always room for another beer, right? So as far as this, look at what you love to do. And if you're ever looking at the customers going, well, all buyers are liars, and, at the same time, all, customers coming on in, they're all the same people, and nobody's buying right now. The reason they're not buying is because they're not buying from you. They're buying from somebody. The closing ratios nationally right now are incredibly high, right? Foot traffic coming in the door, people are realizing that in order to get information on the cars, I don't need to come in and see you anymore, right? Which means that all of us out there need to start looking at how we interact with the individual on the other side of the table. If the experience that we are offering them isn't great, they're going to leave. And there's no way that you can go ahead and offer them an experience when you're in a crappy headspace. Do yourself a solid, like a really big solid. When you notice that you're looking at the board and you're like, it's the third week of the month and I only have 3 or 4 cars out, maybe 5. What do I do? How do I fix this month? Well, I got to repay this draw. I need to go ahead and get back up and move in here. Well, here's how you do it. You go out and you do something that you enjoy. Dead serious. Now, there might be people out there that are like, well, I'm going to go out and, I'm going to go golfing. Cool, go golfing. But stop thinking about work. Turn the phone off. Completely tone down. Go ahead, take work, put it on the back burner. Not kidding. Give yourself a micro vacation. By going out and giving yourself that micro vacation, it gives you the ability to get that bucket of just proverbial crap that's been dumped into your emotional can down. And as that bucket goes ahead and shrinks on down, you start feeling a little better, right? So you bring your stress level down, but you bring your emotional state up, right? And by going ahead and removing a lot of that stress, it gives you the ability to get those endorphins going upward so you can actually put a smile on your face. Think about it. When was the last time when you were in a position like this that you were happy to take a fresh up? I guarantee it was close to never. Because when you're beat up over and over and over again, your smiley hellos, highs, welcome to, our dealership. This is where, me and my brothers and sisters hang out, kind of thing. Welcome to our home. That goes out the window. And it goes out the window because you're not appreciating that person that's coming in because you don't have the ability right now. And if you don't have the ability right now, that means that, well, we got to reset. So you go ahead and you take that time, take your day off and actually go do something you enjoy, right? If you have kids, take your kids out, right? If it's you and your significant other, just go do something that you both love doing. But when you are off work, be off work. I get it. Sometimes you got customers that call on in. Totally understand. But think about it real quick. You're going to be at work the next day, and you're going to be at work the next day. The customer can come on in on those days. And if they don't want to, well, this is where the tough part comes in. Who's more important, you or the customer? Because if you're suffering right now and emotionally, and you're not selling very many cars, and you're grinding yourself down and down and down till there's nothing left, not even dust, how is that helping you and your family? Think it through. If your emotional headspace is super crappy, we got to fix it. Go do things that you love, right? Now, if this is simply you sitting down and playing video games all day, cool, go for it. But you got to get that headspace right. Because that headspace isn't just going ahead and poisoning your customers. It's also poisoning the rest of your dealership family, right? Your brothers and sisters that work at the store, they're picking up on that. And you may have caught it from somebody else too, because one person, and this is pretty cool. I read a study on this the other day, and I wish I remembered where I saw it. But this person went ahead and took a look at the emotional states of individuals, especially when it comes down to things like depression. And what they found is that if you take a group of people, let's say 10 people, one person receives bad news and they're depressed. Eventually, over the course of the next few days, all of those people will start to go ahead and feel a little low. And this is simply because as humans, we feed off of one another quite aggressively when it comes to our emotional states. And a little side of this is, well, you bump into a good group of your friends, they're all laughing. Next thing you know, you jump in there, you're all laughing too. Simple stuff. So get that head right. That headspace, that's your moneymaker. If it's messed up, it ain't going to work. And you're not going to sell cars. You're going to be stuck at that 6 to 12 car area, right? You want to be more in, let's say, like the 15 to 30 car area, depending upon where you are geographically. So with this, just take that moment. Back up. Don't go ahead and hurt yourself over this. Don't beat yourself up going, dude, you're taking time off of work. Listen, you need this time. You need this time to open your brain back up. Okay. Now, I know I've been away from the podcast for about 3 or 4 months. Reason is a lot of crazy things have been going on. But I also had to take my reset too. Because with this and making the podcast, I had to fit into my normal work schedule and edit it and all that fun stuff. It takes a little bit of time. So please do me a solid. I work pretty hard on these. Click that subscribe button. Or if you're on the audio podcast, click the subscribe button so you get the next one. I'm going to try to come out with these, much more frequently now. But I had to go through a reset as well. I had to take some time and work through a lot of my own issues and go, hey, listen, where does this fit into my life, right? How does this work? Can I pull this off? And the big thing that bubbled up the top, my job's to help people. My job's to get you all selling more cars. My job's to get you making more money. So that being said, I'm going to be back and I'm going to be here to help you. So my apologies for stepping away, but life, right? You get busy and at the same time you get in a negative headspace and you just kind of get dragged down. But with my reset, it's about going out and, having a great time with myself and my wife. And that goes ahead and puts me in a headspace where I can look at life a little bit differently. I can open my eyes up and go, hey, do I need all this negative bullshit that just goes on constantly? And do I need to look at the news every 5 seconds? Do I need to open up social media and just be poisoned by the negativity on there, by everybody's fake lives? Do I need to go ahead and do any of that? And the answer is no, you really don't, right? Your goal right now is to get out there and sell another car. I know that's your goal. Right, your goal right now is to look at your sales staff and go, "Hey guys, I just listened to this podcast about the Great Reset. We collectively are going to take some time and pull this off. So let's all sit down. Let's jot down what we love to do, because even though selling cars in the dealership is critically important, carrying a headspace that gives you the ability to perform at your best is exponentially more important. Because if you aren't performing at your best and you are all clogged up with that stuff, right? And you in management, you're willing to accept that your sales consultants are in a bad headspace. First off, shame on you. Dead serious. Shame on you. If you will go ahead and grind your sales consultants down to the bone and not recognize that they're not selling cars because you're working them so hard, do us all a favor and just quit. No joke. Because thing is that your most precious asset at that store are the brains that are inside of those individuals that are trying to sell the cars. Think it through. Think it through. If they aren't healthy, you ain't making money. Sorry, it's the truth. It's how humans work. If you want to be able to be successful, if you want your staff to be successful, your staff needs to be able to go ahead and have that time. So if you notice that somebody's struggling on your floor, right, and they're last on the board, and you're like, dude, something's up. What's going on with you? And they say, well, I'm trying, boss. It really just isn't working. I've taken like 10 people in the past week, and nobody's buying. I don't get it. And this person's just super down on themselves. Give them a day. Or move their day off till tomorrow, right? Like, here, take the day. Get the hell out of here. right? You are more productive to me when you're in a good mental state than right now when you're just beating the crap out of yourself, you're dumping all over yourself because your bucket's like flowing way over. If your bucket's flowing over, who's going to pick up all that crap? Right? I mean, we got to take it from the customer. There's no reason that we shouldn't have to go ahead and take it home. So do yourself a favor. When things are going rough and you're just not getting those points on the board anymore, breathe deep, back up. It might be as easy as you going ahead and taking a walk around the building, right? It might be as easy as you going ahead and get this, ready? Go to yoga. I kid you not. I know it might sound a little bit weird, but when it comes down to these meditative sort of items, these practices, it helps align us again and it helps orient us where we can look at the world in a way that, well, we feel much more accepting about. And when people come in, if I have somebody that I don't agree with, that's okay. I can take more of that, right? And keep that smile on my face and not have an argument. Because when we're wearing down a little bit and that reset's needing to happen, watch how quickly you snap back at somebody. You'll snap back at them insanely fast. Reason being is you need to make justifications for yourself in order to feel right. Don't put yourself in that position anymore. Just go ahead, back up a little bit. Look at your sales staff, back them up a little bit. Gang, how are you doing? Are you not doing well? Okay, here's the deal. You, your sales are absolutely terrible right now. Go take the day. Not joking. Both of you, go ahead. Here's $50 each. Go to the water park. I don't care, right? Just get out of my face and get your head right. Because again, what's up here? If it has negative stuff going through it the whole time, you ain't selling that car. So anyways, that's the Great Reset. I'm going to build off the Great Reset as time goes on. It is a subject that I've studied a lot in a lot of different ways, but that's kind of the overarching cliff notes of it. You see, the car sales in general has this stigma that we're the worst people that are on the planet. I've always loved this. And the reason is that if everybody thinks we're the worst people on the planet and I perform just slightly better than that, I could potentially have a pretty good day. And it's true, right? If you're working at a dealership that it gets a lot of customers coming in that just don't like car salespeople, cool. You don't like car salespeople. Well, I'm a consultant, right? So I go ahead and I counsel customers to encourage them to buy a car, right? My job is to increase their emotional state, decrease their anxieties, right? And by doing this, makes my job fun. And then I can help you buy a car at maximum gross profit. Whoa. Seriously? Yeah, people do buy things like at full price, not even looking at the contract when they're happy. It's the weirdest freaking thing on the planet. So with this, again, as I said, I'll be doubling on back with the Great Reset. But when you hear me reference it, this is what I mean. Taking that break, stepping away, clearing your own head. So when you look at the customer and you're looking at those numbers, you have the fortitude to go ahead, bite your tongue every so often, put a smile on your face, and make it enjoyable for the customer when it's not enjoyable for you, right? It's the nature of the beast. But when it's not enjoyable for you, take 5 minutes or so after that deal, breathe deep, center yourself again, and then give it another crack. If it doesn't happen over and over, it's time for you to go ahead and take a day, go do something you love, and then come back to it when you're refreshed. There's my contact info right on over there. Please go ahead and click on the subscribe button. Sure does help me help you. It helps build my confidence up to make more of these things. So if you got something out of this, share it with a friend. If you're like, dude, you're down on yourself, here, share it with a friend, right? Get them out of their chair, get them going ahead and doing something that they enjoy. All right. Other than that, I'll talk to y'all a bit later. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.